there's very few things that are as selfless as coming into law enforcement, into the corrections, coming to a sheriff's office in this day and age.
From the heart of the country in Douglas County, Kansas, this is View from 100, a behind-the-scenes look at law enforcement, community, and the stories that shape our county.
It's an honor and a privilege to serve not just the community, but my community. I mean, I was born and raised here.
Hosted by your sheriff, Jay Armbrister, bringing you insights from the badge and beyond.
Welcome back to episode 10 of the Douglas County Sheriff's Office View from 100 podcast. This is every episode is very special, but this one is actually extremely special. We've got two very special guests. One of them, a very dear friend of mine, and a very good, a very big hero in my career and my life. But it's this beautiful April afternoon, and we're gonna talk through some history of the Sheriff's Office, history of Douglas County, just kind of where things were back when this county and city were the same but different. And I want to welcome you both to the program, and I'm going to start with Jason. Jason Grems. He's a recently retired captain with the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. Has come back to work for us part-time, doing some odds and ends jobs, but he spent 25 years with the Sheriff's Office, working alongside me for almost all of that. And then retired Sheriff Loren Anderson. He retired in 2000. He hired both of us back in the late 90s, much to his and many other people's chagrin. But he was with the Sheriff's Office for many, many years, and I'll let them introduce themselves. But Jason, why don't you tell everybody like who you are, where you come from, why are you here, why do you stay here?
Well, hello. Thank you, Sheriff. And thank you, Sheriff Anderson, for being here.
Sure.
I agree with Jay's comments about you being a hero to both of us. And by the way, thank you for the job.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, my wife is very
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we're getting started good.
I appreciate what
we're on the attack
what
right
you
now.
did, what you did. And you certainly made it look easy.
Yeah, for sure.
But I know it wasn't. My name's Jason Grems. I was born and raised here. I went to grade school, junior high, and high school. Sunset Hill Elementary, West Junior High, Lawrence High School. After that, I worked a couple different jobs, and I'd always thought about law enforcement, and I was working at a chemical factory here in Douglas County, and I decided that I didn't want to do 40 years of that. And so I applied, and it went quite quickly for me. It was about a 3 or 4 day process from start to finish, luckily. And it was right about the part that they were hiring, the sheriff was hiring in the county for ramping up to open the new jail.
Yep.
And so there was just a lot of us kind of crammed in the old jail, and so we would kind of be tripping over each other and trying to find things to do and probably creating more bad than good.
For sure. Yep.
And
That many idle hands.
Yeah. and especially when you're in your early 20s, you can't sit still. So oftentimes I look back over my career in different positions I've held, and it's made me, and each position I advanced to, I got more so where I still don't understand how you got an hour sleep at night, and I've asked other people that, like, how did you go home and go to bed and rest at all, especially, or at least knowing what I know, and us being in our early 20s, out running around or working at the jail or doing whatever. But I got hired on with the sheriff's office July 26th of 99. I started at the old jail. I went to the new jail. Shortly after that, Sheriff Anderson promoted me to deputy and sent me through the academy, which I successfully completed. I came back after a short time. I went through the field training process to be a patrol deputy. And then after a number of years, I started getting promoted to different positions. And I want to say something that at the time, you know, when you're young, all you can focus on is being a patrol deputy. Like that's the pinnacle.
The end goal.
You know, I mean, that's where you want to be for your entire career, and you can't believe they're allowing you to do it.
And they're paying me to do
you
this.
would do it for free, you know, and you know, you've got all your stuff in your car, and you're just trying to do the right thing. And as time goes by, what I found with the sheriff's office, and the reason why I felt I was always a better fit with the sheriff's office as opposed to some other agencies, was the ability to move around. And at times, some were welcomed moves, and sometimes they weren't so welcomed. But what I found were even the ones that that I left fighting and kicking and complaining, like when I got shuffled back to the jail as a supervisor, I remember, you know, like how dare they do that to me?
Don't they know my value?
Yeah. You know, here I've got 12, 13, whatever years of patrol experience, and I'm going back to the jail. And I went back to the jail, and you know, I was kind of dragging my lip, and I said, you know what? I'm going to give this a chance. I'm going to give it 4 or 6 months or whatever. And it not only turned out to be a benefit for, well, it turned out to be a benefit for the department and for me. And the sheriff at the time and the captains at the time were able to see that I needed a break from what I had been doing. And it's something that I never would have seen myself, you know, and it turned out I really enjoyed my time in operations, and I enjoyed my time at the jail.
Sure.
And I was very thankful for all the different sheriffs and different positions that I've been able to go through.
I've said that over and over too, is that's a lot of people like to ask what's the difference between a sheriff's office and a police department. And there's a lot of differences, but there's a lot of similarities as well. But for us specifically, we just have so many different places to go and work within our agency. Whereas a police department, you have road patrol officers, you have detectives, you have supervisors. Maybe you have a training unit, maybe you have some other specialized unit, but it's very limited in what you can and can't do. For us, we have people who can start in the jail and decide, I don't ever want to leave the jail, or they want to be a deputy, but they want to work in the jail, and they can be commissioned, or they can go on patrol, or they can go to detectives, they can go to court and security, they can go to warrants, they can go to civil process. We have all these other different things to do, and I think that's a huge advantage for folks like you and I who time out, who maybe have a bit of an expiration in one spot and need to go somewhere else. I mean, I've been pretty clear about my path, and in 2017, I asked to leave detectives because I had expired. Like, I was done. I couldn't do that anymore, and there was an option for me to go and do something else, whereas other agencies, it could have been very limited, or it could have been the end. And so I've always been extremely proud of that, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. So.
Well, I want to add something to that real quick. Is when I had been reassigned to the jail, my captain at the time, who I dearly respect to this day, I remember he came out to my house to tell me, and he said, and he was the patrol captain, and he said, "Man, you've been working all these cases and doing these search warrants and stuff, and you've just been like nailing this stuff. It's like everything's just turning to gold." But, and he gives me the news, and he says, but we all feel that it's basically, it's become too personal.
Yeah. And it's time.
It's just, it's as you said, timed out.
Yeah.
And it's grinding on you too much, and we can see it, and you need a break.
Yep. Absolutely.
And they could not been more correct.
That's absolutely right. No, I look back and considering where I am now and considering where I was at certain points in my career, people will say like, well, what would you have done different? Considering where I am now, I wouldn't do a thing different, but it sure was difficult at the time to make those decisions, to make those changes. whether they were my choice or not. So thanks, Jason. Thanks for coming, Loren. I'm going to turn to you. Tell us. I mean, man,
Yeah.
Tell us about you.
Ooh, well, where do we start? I grew up in Clinton.
In the town of
That's
Clinton.
west side of Douglas County, Central.
Well, and that was before
Very
there was a
small.
lake named Clinton,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. You asked earlier about what made me. How did I come to the conclusion to be in law enforcement?
Sure.
I went after I graduated from high school. I went to college for 2 years, and I had 65 credit hours, and they told me I needed to declare a major. And I said, I really don't know what I want to do, so I quit.
I majored in quitting.
And got a job with a local farmer and took the test for a state trooper. And I was in the field one day, and sheriff's car come rolling into the field.
Yeah.
And it was Sheriff Johnson. And
Rex Johnson. Yeah.
Rex Johnson. And he said, I understand you took the test for the highway patrol. I said, yeah. He said, are you going to go to work for him? I said, well, I haven't heard from him yet.
Yeah.
He said, why don't you come in and talk and work for me? I said, well, okay.
Yeah.
So I did.
And that was it. he put in an application with you to come to work for them.
And he was an inspiration for me.
Sure.
And that went on. I was lucky to. I enjoyed my work the whole time.
Yeah.
And he gave me opportunities that I didn't even know were happening.
Oh yeah, you're speaking to me there.
And ended up. I got when we started out. It was 9 people worked there, 9 employees.
9.
We have 9 on each shift now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, it was that included the part-time dispatchers
Oh my gosh.
that came in at night because we didn't even have a patrol.
Yeah.
We had 2 deputies,
Uh-huh.
an undersheriff and a sheriff. Well, there was another deputy that did most of the jail work and all the photography.
Sure.
Anyway, we got a patrol for those who worked. Well, for the first couple of years, it was just take call, work 9 hours a day, and then take call.
Yeah.
And then we got set up to where we were working. One of us came in at 3, worked till 11.
3 in the morning or 3 in the
3 in the
afternoon?
afternoon.
Yep. Okay.
And the other one came in at 6 and worked till 2.
So there was nobody out in the middle of the night.
We took call.
Or from 2 to 3.
And we didn't. And most of the time, you worked by yourself. There was no back car.
Right. Right.
You didn't overload your fanny. That's all there was to it.
That's good words to live by. Yeah.
And then we hired. We got 2 more, and eventually we got full shift coverage. You were still by yourself a lot,
Right.
But we had 24-hour coverage every day of the year.
What year did you start with sheriff's office?
November '65.
Of 65. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you would have been what, 22 years old?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Sounds
Something like that. Yeah. And then I got surprised. I haven't figured it out yet one day when Sheriff Johnson made me the undersheriff.
yeah.
And
Did the previous undersheriff leave or?
no, he went to the jail.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because we had moved by then into the new facility. Before that, we were in the old jail.
Yeah, so I'll just lay that out. So the old jail was the historic courthouse that we have now that is just at 11th and Mass with the big clock in the top.
Yep.
It was a building that was that was off to the east side of it. And that was the jail and sheriff's office, correct?
Yes, and the living quarters for the sheriff.
And the sheriff and his family lived in the upstairs of that. Do you remember how many cells or how many beds there were in that old jail? And
I'm gonna say we could hold 18.
18, okay. And was it usually full or?
It wasn't full until 70s.
70, okay. Well, 70, a lot of things changed in the
I started
70s.
in 65, and by 70 we were having pretty much, we would run 12 to 15 all the time.
Okay, gotcha.
Mostly 15. It's
Yep.
18.
Okay, and then
And then it moved, of course, to where we were.
yeah, so where I'm at today at 11th in New Hampshire, what we call the courthouse or the law enforcement center, that was built in 75, opened in 76, I believe. So, and that was that jail was on the second floor, which is where Jason and I started our careers. The second floor, it was what we call linear style jail, and it, as I recall, had 50. It was a 50 bed or 50 inmates is what we tried to keep it around.
Right.
Yeah, and it's I look back now, it's the kind of jail you picture from old movies. It was, had the big metal bars that rolled and clammed shut, and then it had the big levers that you had to pull to open doors and these great big keys you carried. It was much different when we moved into what I now refer to as the new jail. It was September 11th of 99 is when we moved into that building. But so Sheriff Johnson and his family lived in the
upstairs. Actually, it was a pretty nice place. I say upstairs. It had bedrooms were upstairs, but it had a kitchen, dining room.
Oh my gosh,
not bad.
Yeah, no,
it even had a front door.
Okay. And so when you guys,
there's a picture of it.
Yeah. So and we'll throw the picture up on the screen for folks following along. But yeah, that picture was probably right towards the late mid 70s, as I recall. In fact, one of the pictures I saw of that had like a 76 Olds 98 parked out front, so that had to be right about the same time that we were moving into the new building.
Probably went down about that.
It probably did.
Probably took it out just as quick as we moved into the facility
that makes
where
sense.
your office is now.
Yeah. So in 65, do you remember what kind of cars what the patrol deputies were driving in the late 60s?
Yeah, we had a 63 and a 64 Dodge with a 383 4-speed Hurst.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, well, we don't have those anymore.
They were good cars.
That's quite a car.
I used to. You could chirp the tires when you shifted to fourth gear.
Which it's so funny too, because we recently a couple years ago purchased a kind of a hot rod car, a show car, and it's got a 6-speed manual transmission, and only I'd say less than half of my staff can drive it because they don't know how to drive manual transmissions. And it's always funny too. They want to be like, well, you can show me, teach me how, and I'm like, no, you need like a 69 Ford F400 grain truck to learn on, and with the worn out steering, and then come back to me.
Yeah.
So, now I've always heard stories about how the deputies received their calls for service, like if there was a theft or there was a fight somewhere. From when you started, how did that evolve? Because I've heard about the call boxes, I've heard about like AM/FM radio stuff. How did you ever have any of that, or was it always on a portable handheld radio?
We didn't have any portable handheld radios.
Okay.
When I started.
Okay.
It was all 39 high band or low band, 39.58, and the telephone only.
Okay.
Telephone and dispatch.
Yeah. So if dispatch took a call and you were already out on the street, how would they let you know? Because they could tell you in your car.
The car radio.
Okay, gotcha.
That's it.
Okay. Because I've always heard stories about the old days, but
Well, yeah, in the police department did have a light that they turned on in a tower.
okay, that's the one I remember.
And whoever the officer was on duty that would drive the station and say, "What do you want?"
Oh, okay. See, I'd been told that they had like call boxes around town where you could stop and pick up a phone and call dispatch, but
They may have, but
yeah.
I didn't ever hear about
okay,
that.
no, that's
They always told me they had to drive back to the station and see what the call was.
yeah, no, that makes sense. And the police department, correct me if I'm wrong, was where Fire Station 1 is now, down there at
Right.
what is that, 8th and
Right across the street.
Vermont.
Right across from where we're sitting.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Right across, on the other. So there's the library, there's the parking garage, and then there's the fire station / senior resource center. That was the police department back then. Okay.
Yeah.
And then did they in '75 when we built the new law enforcement center courthouse? Did the police department move into that at the same time?
Exactly.
Okay.
They
all
had
right.
the south side, we
Yep.
had the north side,
Yep.
and the east end.
Yeah, and even when we started, they were still in there up until
Yeah, until
early
they got out.
2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I am curious. I think that a lot of people forget that the town of Clinton existed, and everybody believes, that lake has been there is some sort of a glacial lake and has been there forever, and that's just not the case. It was built in the early 70s, if I remember, or late 60s. It started in the mid 60s, maybe, or
Oh, the lake?
the lake.
Phew, it was finished. It was in the mid 70s.
Okay.
I think. I
Okay.
can't
Yeah.
remember for sure. Right
But
now.
but where you grew up is that where the lake is now, or is that where the town of Clinton is?
I was right on the east side of the town of Clinton, and
Okay.
we had a farm there.
Okay, so is where your farm was? Is that still there then?
It's still there.
Okay, all right,
Well,
so
the lake took the north end of it
Okay, all right, gotcha.
in the low area.
Sure. Is the old house still there? Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And Rex Johnson, I mean, famously was from the town of Clinton. So is that how he knew you? Just
He wasn't in Clinton yet then.
he wasn't
He was still living in the.
in the sheriff's
In the
office.
sheriff's
Yeah,
office.
in the jail.
However, he was a milk hauler. He hauled milk,
Okay.
canned milk, and we had a dairy, and he picked up our milk.
Okay, so that's how you first met him.
Well, he
or-
knew of me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And from your farm, how long would it take you to get to the south end of Lawrence before the lake was here? I mean, are we talking like
Before the lake,
Yeah.
probably 15 minutes.
15 minutes? And now it's a 40.
Yeah, 30-minute drive.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, yeah. So, yeah, because you got to go way out west, all the way around either to Stoll or to Wakarusa. So, yeah, I always find it so interesting because people forget the fact that lake has not always been there.
It's now a peninsula out there, Clinton. Yeah.
Yeah, and was there like grocery stores and what sort of infrastructure?
When I was there was a store. One store is all. It was a blacksmith shop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the one where the Clinton store is now? Or is
No,
that-
it was across the street from the store.
Okay.
And I think there was a post office years and years ago.
Okay.
I really don't know about that.
Gotcha. Yep. It's totally fine. We'll just wait till it quits ringing and then we'll keep going.
I couldn't kill it.
Popular guy.
Got it.
Yep. Nope. Doing great. So Rex, so you started in 65 and Rex became sheriff in 64, 65, if I remember right. So who was the sheriff before that? Was that Travis Glass or was that Broker? Or
Broker.
Fred Broker.
Fred
Okay.
Broker.
All right.
Travis was just before him.
Was before him. Okay. Yeah. And my parents' generation, my mom and dad, they would be, in their early 80s, but that whole generation of people, it seems like they all that grew up in this town, they all have a Rex Johnson story where Rex caught them doing something that they shouldn't have been doing and either called their parents or sent them on home around the way. And so I've always been kind of proud of the sheriff's office culture. Like we've got kind of a more of a laid back culture. And I'm curious where that kind of started. If I've always felt like we and we communicate before we fight, a lot of times when it comes to enforcement. And I've always felt that it starts where, like you were talking about, where you don't want to overload your fanny, where you're out there in the middle of nowhere by yourself with no help on its way. You have to figure out how to make this go as good as it can. Has that always kind of been the sheriff's office thing? Has that always kind of been how we've operated as an agency? Because it sure seems to have been the culture that was handed off to us.
I think that's probably a big part of it. The factor that comes to my mind is that I think that we have a nature about the people that have been in that office have realized that you're working for the people,
Right. Yes.
and you enforce what they want enforced.
Right. That's exactly right.
If you don't do that, you're out of business.
Right.
A good example of that is 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. That was
Right.
a bad idea.
I remember I was a child. But
We lost a lot of respect
yeah.
because we were doing stuff society didn't want us to do.
Sure. Yeah. So that was in the early 80s. When was that? That 70s? When did they kind of make that change?
It was it would have been late 80s.
Okay. Yeah. I barely remember.
88, 89, 90, in there somewhere.
Yeah, okay, because I remember my dad being so upset because it seemed like I was always playing baseball in Salina, and it took forever to get to Salina now and back, driving 55 on I-70. But, okay, so what were the speed limits before that? Or were they just kind of at will?
It was 60 at night and 70 in the daytime.
Okay, all right.
That's
what people drive now.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
a flippant answer, but it's pretty much that's what it boiled down to.
Yeah, yeah. It was whatever was reasonable.
That was what was enforced,
Yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah.
and people liked that.
Yeah, no. Well, you can't hardly complain as a motorist, but as a sheriff's office, I suppose. So moving forward into your career, so you were made undersheriff. Sounds like fairly early, fairly young in your career.
I did 19 and a half years.
Yeah.
On patrol.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
as a deputy,
Yeah.
and then I did 4 years
As undersheriff.
as undersheriff, and
Okay.
then 12 as sheriff.
Okay. And then, so in those 4 years, was it kind of I'm curious just, because Rex was the sheriff for 24 years, which is, and he had a career even before that, clearly hauling milk. And then he was also a patrol deputy before that. So he'd been with the sheriff's office a long time. Was there discussion about him retiring and having somebody else take over? Or how did that all how did you get to run for sheriff, I guess?
Well, I don't know. I guess, are you asking why did he quit?
Well, no, I mean, I assumed he was just retired. Like he'd been doing it a long
just
time.
Retired, and
Yeah.
very honestly, I felt like that's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
After probably, we got real in the progression of things. We got so big. We had rank.
You're right.
We got lieutenants and a captain. He hired a captain, and that was like, ooh. And now we got lieutenants and sergeants.
Uh-huh.
And I went. I became a lieutenant.
Uh-huh.
And then an undersheriff.
Yeah.
And I thought, might as well get down.
Yeah.
Go for the biggie.
Okay. So did Rex know when he was taking his retirement? Did he know that you were planning to run for sheriff?
I didn't ask him.
Okay, that's
He didn't
fair.
tell me.
That's fair enough. I remember it was 88, so I'd have been 13 years old or something. But I can still remember it because it was in my collective mind. I can only think of three contested sheriff's office races, and one of them was yours in '88, where you ran against Dallas Murphy, and as I recall, it was in the Republican primary.
Yeah, and I'm going to correct you again.
Yeah, okay.
He ran. He ran against me. I
That's
didn't
fair.
run against
Fair.
him
Yeah, so that one time
because
that Dallas
I
Murphy
announced first.
Okay, gotcha. Dallas ran against you in '88, and then in 2000, when you retired, there was contested between Rick Trapp and Ron Wilson, and then the one that we went through in 2020. So, but other than that, since the mid '60s, there's not been much turnover in that.
And that's a good thing.
I don't disagree with you.
That's a good thing.
Can I interrupt for a moment? Sheriff, over the years, I've I've taken quite an interest in the history of the agency, and I was able through Sheriff Johnson, Sheriff Hodson when he was still alive, Fred Broker, to meet with a lot of these folks and talk to them, and I've stayed in touch and still stay in touch with, as you know, with all our sheriffs in some level, But one of as I was going through pictures over the years, of course, you being a hero of ours, I found this picture, and it's absolutely one of my favorite pictures. It's even, I like it even more than the one with Johnny Miller and the monkey,
which I still
which I have a picture of.
Yeah, we have a picture of it was Sheriff Johnny Miller, wasn't it? And he had a monkey.
No, he was a deputy, I think.
And then there was the undersheriff. Ben Way was in that picture, wasn't he? Or was that a different picture?
No, that's a different picture.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a deputy and a city marshal for Eudora.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay,
Johnny
gotcha.
Miller.
Yes, gotcha.
Yeah. But I found this picture, and it's framed, and it's been hanging on the walls in the law enforcement center for some times. But it's a picture with a map of a calendar of 1976, and it's got your name on a name tag. It says Lieutenant Loren C. Anderson, and it's a picture of you smoking your pipe in your office.
Actually, that's the civil process office,
Okay, yeah.
and he'd leave papers there on his desk for me to serve.
Oh, okay.
And I sat down at his desk to figure out what all I had.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I've seen that picture. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I don't even know who took it. Probably Doug.
I can.
Well, there was, on the side note, there's the one of Johnny Miller with the monkey.
Yeah. Do you have any insight as to what on earth that is about?
I remember hearing the stories about it, but I don't know what it.
Was it a pet monkey or was it?
I don't know. And there was also one of him that I believe was taken in Eudora with him and a lion.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember hearing about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the craziest thing.
Our history is
I wanna
shrouded
know.
in mystery.
I wish I knew him
Yeah. No kidding. No kidding.
because he'd probably be a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah. Well, the picture of you smoking your pipe is also something from my history because we always called it the north stairway, but the north side of the building. But there was a little back hallway stairway that went down to a little door that I walk in and out of every day. But there's a little stoop there, and I would pull up in my little patrol car, and you'd be sitting out there smoking your pipe on the north side, and I'd wave to the sheriff, and then I'd drive away because I didn't want to walk by you, pretend like I got a call or something.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't want to say excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd go around the block 3 or 4 times, as we talk through the history of the sheriff's office, obviously in 2020 when I came in, I made some changes to our uniform and some of that kind of stuff. But I've always been very, very curious about. Well, first off, we used to wear what we call French blue. I mean, that's in that picture that we just showed everybody.
Well, that became a state law.
And it was a state law that every sheriff had to wear them, and very few do anymore. But I was always curious about our badge. It was a 6-pointed star, and I'd never, and maybe there isn't anything there, but was there ever a history or an explanation as to why we wore 6-pointed stars versus 5-pointed stars versus 7-pointed stars? Do you know, or was it just the way it was?
I have no idea.
Okay,
6 points are easier to draw.
yeah, well, that's absolutely the truth. I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, it's. I've always been curious about that because you get out west of the Rockies. All of those sheriffs and some PDs wear 7-point stars. And then you come to Kansas and it's mostly 6-point stars. And then you go south, a lot of them are 5-point stars. And I've just always been curious what the difference was, but maybe there's nothing. It's just the way it always was. So
When I had the pleasure to visit with Sheriff Hodson, he was living in Olathe at that time. And he had brought out a box of his stuff that he had. And within this box, as we were speaking, we were going through it, and he had pulled out a couple badges.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe one of the badges that he pulled out was one that's in his picture on the wall. You know how all your pictures are on the wall? And it was a shield
Oh, really?
instead of a star.
Okay.
And if you look at all those, they all had different badges, clear back to
Right.
the conception. Well, he wanted me to have them, but I felt I don't feel comfortable. This
Right.
is probably something your family should
Right.
hold
Yeah,
on to
yeah,
and
for sure.
and retain. But I do remember, Sheriff, that he did have a badge that was a shield, and it's the one that he has
I'll be darned.
on his, or I believe it to be the one on his uniform.
So I know like a lot of agencies, especially I just happen to know like Sacramento and San Francisco Police Department, they all start, everybody wears a 7-point star as a SFPD or officer of Sacramento. And then once you promote to a certain rank or detective, that's when you get your shield. And so some agencies work them together. We've just always been stars for everything. But yeah, it's just weird how different places do different things. And for those that maybe don't know, the symbolism of a shield, like that police wear, it's always worn on your left side because in the Roman days, even if you were left-handed, you were taught to fight with your sword in your right and your shield in your left because your shield not only protected you, it protected the person to your left. And if everybody had their shield, everybody was protected. So that was the symbolism of that. And I know you guys probably know that, but the 9 people and my mom who listen to this, I want that. I'd love for them to know. But back to your time as sheriff. So you ran in '88, won the primary, unopposed in the general, became sheriff in '89.
Vinegar was running against me.
Oh my gosh, really? I didn't know that. So
Vinegar.
That's right.
I forgot about
did
that.
too.
Okay, so you had an opponent in the general then and won that. Okay, well, so then you took over in '89. So from '89 to 2000, I mean, I know a lot of things changed and got weird, just with the growing of the agency. But what was it like during that time? What were some of your things you were hoping to get done? What were some of the things you didn't get done that you wanted to, or was there anything that you're just like, we really did some cool stuff back then?
I mean, we stayed busy. I know that.
Right.
The first year I took office, we had over 20 unattended deaths.
Oh my gosh.
Normally we'd have 2 or 3.
Right.
And
Again, an unattended death can be anything from someone who passes away at home in their sleep to somebody who maybe committed suicide or
also in that we had the pedestrian that got hit.
Yep.
Coming out of the outhouse down there.
Right. Back when it was a music venue.
I remember.
Yeah, that's right.
And we had a car, train hit a pickup loaded with people.
Yeah. Yep.
I
I remember that. Was that the one in North Lawrence?
Yeah.
I can still remember the name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a number of those
Sure.
kinds of things. But on that was really, it was, I guess you could call it a trying time.
Sure. Yeah.
It
sounds
was
like it.
more a little beyond initiation.
Yes.
But then after you called me, I tried to recall what all we did as far as changes that took place in the office. I think the first thing that came to my mind was we got a juvenile detention center.
Oh yeah.
I went around. I got 17 adjacent area counties
Right.
to sign up that they would put their people in our facility
Sure.
until they got their own
Right. Yeah.
or went somewhere else. And I think it's still going.
It is. It absolutely is. Yeah.
And so that took some time, and then we had a gambling seizure that the KBI shared the seizure money with us, and that's when we went to the high band radios.
Okay. Yep.
And that was a step up because the 3958 it was great because we had communication with the police department,
Right.
adjacent counties, and even the highway patrol. Mm-hmm. But they all went to higher stuff, and so that was gone.
They
And
left you behind.
We still had areas where the 3958, you could hear about a shrimp boat in the Gulf of Mexico, but you couldn't talk to somebody that was in Lecompton.
That sounds right.
And so that was a good step for us.
Sure.
And
Speaking of the juvenile detention center and stuff, just think buildings that you were part of, obviously being part of the jail we're in now,
Right.
You building it. I just wanted to share this funny little thing with you. It's probably been 10 years ago, and or longer, and I was the administrative lieutenant at the jail, and of course that spot always seems to attract the question of, hey, can you sit in on new hire interviews? You know, and I think I've done about 1 million of those. But one particular guy came in and he sat down, and there was the three of us on the board asking these questions. And it was always the same 9 questions. But at the end, what I started doing was asking every one of them, I would say, can you tell me who the sheriff is? And some of them would have no clue, and some of them would be spot on. You know, they did the research, even if they weren't from here. But one guy, and this, like I said, this may have been 10 years ago. And this guy's sitting there, and I said, can you tell me who the sheriff is? And he goes, yes, Loren C. Anderson. And I said, well, thank you. And I let it go at that. So I said, well, we're all done with you. And I walk him out front, and I walk him out into the tundra out in the front lobby. And I look over, and there's the plaque on the wall with your name. When he was sitting there and waiting to come in, he sees Sheriff Loren C. Anderson.
Forever.
Yeah. So, and I just let him roll with it. So I'm surprised. You probably got a vote that year.
Well, after that, we did the address. We had address to county combined dispatch.
Went from rural route box numbers.
Yeah, everybody got an address, and we combined dispatch for the fire departments and sheriff and police. And
Was that about the same time that the DCAS, Douglas County Ambulance Service, merged with Lawrence Fire Department, LFD, where they became LDCFM, or was that?
I can't answer that.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
It had to be about the same time, because that was in 91, I think, is when they made that consolidation.
Yeah. And I think after that, we built a new jail. And then I actually retired in January of 2001.
Of 01, that'd be right. That's right, because the election was in 2000, so yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you had about the new jail, as we call it. It opened September 11th of 99.
So, yeah.
Had
So
a little over
you
a full
had
year.
that fall plus the whole next
Year,
year.
a few months.
Into
A year and some change.
Yeah.
And that was quite a deal. We had to, we went to the direct supervision, and that was a new thing for
It was. Yep.
for a lot of places, including here.
Yep.
And I lost a couple of guys.
Right.
They just didn't want to do it.
You know, and
Don't do it then.
Yeah. And then, and again, for the folks that are listening, direct super. So I talked earlier about a linear style jail, and that's where you have a big solid box with a line that has cells in it, and then another box with more cells in it, and more cells and more cells. So each one had like 5, 5, 5. Well, we went to this direct supervision where each housing unit had one officer that worked at an open desk, an open air desk, and then there was doors all around. And then when the inmates came out, you were in with them. And so like our medium housing unit at the time still has 56 cells, and we would let half out at a time. Of course, some people would let everybody out, but it could be you and 28 inmates at one time. And a lot of people just didn't like their odds, didn't like the numbers. And we were all very skeptical that this was going to work, but it turned out to work. It actually did work, and I think it's a better. I had an inmate tell me it was about a year, probably about the time you were leaving. He had been in and out of our jail for my whole career, but I asked him. I said, "How do you like the new jail?" He says, "I hate it." I said, "Well, how come?" He says, "Because we were in charge of the old one. You guys are in charge of this one, and I don't like it."
That's
And
the
so,
difference.
yeah, it was a big difference.
That's the difference.
But
I remember you were there. I went out there the first week when we opened up, and spent time in the cell, in the whatever you call it,
in the housing unit,
housing area. Even to the extent of I sit down on the floor and lean back against the wall, and I had the whole bunch of guys sitting around there, the inmates,
Yeah.
and they understood what we were doing,
Right.
and it helped me.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate even in the old jail, they respected us to almost at least 99% of
Sure.
the inmates.
Yeah.
Now you always have that one that's
And
out of
always will.
whack
Yep.
and on a different page. And,
Sure.
You got to take drastic action.
Sure. Sure.
But it happens. But it worked out better. I remember I toured prison in Lansing. I toured one in Kansas City, Colorado, and they were both old style. And Colorado had a new one also, and the new one was making the old one.
Oh. Yep.
With the direct supervision
Yep.
was way better.
Sure.
But on top of that, when I went to the one at Lansing and toured there, it was surprising how much respect those guys did. But it comes with the attitude that
For sure.
that officer has.
Yeah. I totally
He
agree.
can make or break
100% of the time.
whether that's going to work or
Yeah.
not.
Absolutely.
You can make your day very hard or very easy.
On yourself. Yep, for sure. Yeah, and it's not about being the hammer and laying down the law and being this demanding respect. It's about earning their respect. I found it was a whole lot easier to do my job if I earned their respect as opposed to trying to force it on
And
them.
you earned it by being fair.
That's 100% of the time. That's all they even if they don't like it, they'll respect fair most of the time. And
Exactly.
yeah, I think, and today, looking back, now 27 years later after that jail opened, there are and people are like, why did they build this way, or why did they do that, or why didn't they do this? Well, at the time that this was built with the very best of intentions. It was cutting edge. It was the belief that this was going to be the future. And I would say 90% of it worked out. I wish that we would have made some things bigger here or smaller there, but you're just never going to know. But then again, is like if you look back to our society in 1999 versus where it is today, they're completely different too. And our needs today look nothing like what we needed when we started in 98 and 99, because the mental health and the drugs that are out there and are changing, altering people physiologically, that just wasn't there back then. It was just you just had a bunch of people who had done, some of them good people who had done bad things, some of them bad people who've done bad things. Nowadays it's just different. We're the biggest mental health facility in this county by a long shot.
Exactly.
And we're going to continue to grow until we as a society kind of figure it out.
The two biggest changes are the mental health when they closed our state hospitals.
Yes.
And then we introduced drug problems.
Yep.
And now,
Yeah.
you got it.
That's right. Yeah, and it's
you're the only one who takes care of either one of those.
And we're getting into the second generation of those folks, coming those kids coming from broken homes are just in trouble. And so, I've always heard about the closing of like Meningers and the state hospitals in Topeka and all that stuff, and it's never been a part of my career because it had closed several years before I started. So I just didn't really know what that life was like. All I know is post, but it sounds like that was a big change when it came to county jails.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just an opinion. I'm not sure that was a good idea, but that's what happened.
Right. Well, and I mean, you always hear these horror stories about how they used to be run and the things they used to do, but it doesn't mean they couldn't have changed the way they were operating and stayed open. But to just shut it down, it forced all of that work back into the counties, especially into the jails, and we're still suffering deeply.
We deal with change, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't. What we've been talking about change makes me remind. When I started, I said we had nine people, I think. And when I retired, we had 169.
Yeah, we're 180 now. Yeah.
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 And after I retired, I went to work for an architect.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what you'd call it, a consultant or a marketer or what, on county jails. Anyway, I enjoyed it. It was a good job. But I think it was just 2 or 3 years after I retired, I was in Dodge City at a sheriff's conference. And my station was next to a retired sheriff from Columbine, Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Where the
Shooting had happened, yeah.
yeah, he was sheriff when that happened.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wow.
And so I was talking to him, and we were swapping stories and so forth. And I said, yeah, when I started it, we had 9 people, and when I retired, we had 169. He said, yeah, I know what you mean. He said, when I started, I had 6, and now we have 600.
Wow.
Forget me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
But the point is, that change was universal, clear across
Across the country. Yeah.
Our population.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Demands.
Well, and I think, I mean, you look at the makeup of Douglas County. It used to be made up. There used to be 100 farmers with 1,000 acres each. Now there's 1,000 farmers with 100 farmers with 1,000 acres each. It used to be 1,000 farmers with 100 acres each.
It's now a suburban county.
It is, and that's
It's
what I
no
tell
longer
everybody. Is
rural.
like, this is not the country anymore.
No.
You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a mailbox anymore.
That's
and
right.
we've broken this county up into 5-acre pieces, and so it with that has just brought a huge change to the work that we do. You know, when we were coming up, I would maybe work one rear end wreck a year where somebody was just looking out the window and somebody was stopped to turn into their driveway or something. Once in a while. We're working 2 and 3 a day nowadays. And it's because of phones, 100%. It's because people are distracted within their vehicles. But that's just one tiny little space where our job has completely changed. And we used to go, I mean, I'm sure you're the same. We would go a 8 or a 12-hour shift, maybe having 2 or 3 calls. They're getting a call, 2-3 calls an hour now, you know. And so it's just, as the people have come and as the community has changed, our job has just completely changed. I mean, I wish I could go back to the way it used to be sometimes, but I also know that that's just not possible. So we got to make the very best of what we have, and I think
it's going to be more so. I didn't say worse.
Yeah,
I just said it's going to be more so.
More different.
In another year.
Absolutely.
Well, I also believe, to touch on what you said about call volume, about being out in the county and it becoming more suburban and stuff, is, I don't know how to say this, but with non-agricultural based folks moving out into the county, they have sometimes different expectations.
Yep.
And they don't want a cow in their yard. They got out. You know, sometimes. There's a different type of.
Well, I took a noise complaint one night, and it was 11:30 at night. And it was this out by Cedar Hill Gun Club, and this person was extremely upset because the cows next door were bawling all night, just hollering. And so I said, well, I'm very sorry about that. There's no law against it. Plus, they just pulled the calves off of those cows. So those are mama cows wanting to know where their babies are. And he's like, you need to go tell them to shut up. And I'm like, well, that's just not going to happen.
I'll do
sir.
that.
Yeah, I'll just holler out from out my car window as I go by, you know. And that was kind of an example where it's like,
it's just different.
It is. It's just different, and it's not better. It's not worse. It's just different, and I think that's also part of our employment too. Is we're hiring. There isn't a lot of agricultural background these days, just in general, not just Douglas County, but like, can you imagine in hiring somebody in 1975 that couldn't drive a manual transmission vehicle? Like and nowadays, I promise you, half of my patrol division cannot drive a manual transmission. And they even call it a millennial anti-theft device, you know, when it has a stick shift on it. So it's just, things have changed, you know, everything is changing.
Can I add something to that, Sheriff? Something I've also noticed too, as like Jay and I growing up here, okay, the sheriff's office is where I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. Not with Shawnee County Sheriff's Office, not with Johnson County Sheriff's Office, but with Douglas County Sheriff's Office. That's where I wanted to be. And I had ties to this community,
Right.
just as you did. All three of us have. And so what I found with doing new hire stuff and background investigations and different things is a lot of times we have people from other areas who have sent out 50 different resumes
Right.
to 50 different agencies looking for a career in law enforcement. But they may be from Broken Bow, Oklahoma, or from Texas, or and they got out of college from KU,
Right.
and that's how we ended up with them. You know, and I'm not saying they're better or worse or anything, but they just don't have the like sentimental tie
Right.
at that point. So you're drawing people in from other areas.
Well, I think it's twofold. I think there's a good and there's a bad to that. In that it's good because I know, like, you tell me, say, where Huntsinger's farm, where the old milk farm was, I'm like, yeah, I can drive you right to that. That's a good historical knowledge of this county and being able to having it benefit. But on the flip side of it, I've had incidents where I've had to be involved in arrests of my friends, people I grew up with, people I've respected and loved, or worse yet, incidents where they've been hurt. Or my least favorite is when somebody calls me or comes to my home to talk about work because they need my help as in my official capacity, but they come to my home. And that doesn't happen if you're from somewhere else. You don't have that base of people. But again, I also, part of that is that they respected enough to reach out, so it really is kind of a double-edged sword in my opinion. Like, I'm very deeply proud to be from this county and this town, but it also is the thorn in my side is from the tree I planted. It's from it's because it makes it hard sometimes as well.
Touch on that. I think it's what you said's quite funny, and is you basically being from down south, and me being up in the northeast part of the county. I can think of a dozen people right now and name them off who over my career, I have kind of become their personal deputy,
right?
If you will.
Yes.
You know, because they don't want to call
somebody else. Yeah.
They want me to listen to them, whether they're upset or what to do, and I'm totally fine with that.
Right.
And actually, I welcome it. Because what I would always tell my trainees and stuff, I said, if somebody calls the sheriff's office or they have a need to contact a deputy, whether they know him or not, that is the biggest thing in their day. Mm-hmm. And it is the most important thing going on in their life. So you need to give it your full time and attention. Whether it's something you can't do anything about, sometimes people just want to hear it. Or they just want to talk about it. And if I can do that, I'm happy to.
Well, and you probably still have people want to talk to you about the old days and when you were the sheriff and.
Well, yes, but I still have the same ones that want to talk about what do I do about this.
Right. Yeah. And that's still contacting you for advice. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And again, it's a sign of respect and it's a sign of trust that but it can be a pain in the butt sometimes. But you're absolutely, that's a great point. That is the biggest thing going on in their life, even though it's maybe not that important to what we need to do for a day. So, you got any other questions or anything else? Man?
I thought it was just kind of funny. So I started digging through some of my stuff. And I've always been very proud that I kept this. But it's my very first ID, a baby face ID with your signature on it.
All right.
And means you gave me this job. This is how I ended up. The before and after.
Still doing okay.
You're upright and taking nourishment. You're doing great. because those old pictures, they would take a picture of you, and it would come out in 4 identical pictures, and then they had this little thing they would push down, and it would cut out your picture, and then they would shove it in there. In a lot of our older employee files, we still have, and it's the 3 remaining pictures with the 1 cutout that went on their ID. It's kind of cool to see, to see that. But also going through old personnel files, it was really neat to see all the old people, the people who worked for us, like Don Gardner, Red Dog. I found his file one time and it had his picture in it, so I shared it with him. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I forgot all about that." That kind of stuff. It's been pretty neat. So
but I do want to say when I made the comment earlier about you being a hero, and Jay said the same thing. There, as time goes on over your career, and whether you spend a lot of time with a sheriff, where we came towards the end of your career.
right,
Yep. We were blessed to have you. And, there's people that today, new people who weren't even born when we were hired, know your name and know certain other people's names because you left such a huge influence on us.
That's nice.
And we tell the stories, about, like, I remember you always carried a wheel gun.
yeah,
I remember where your desk sat.
Yep.
I remember you coming into the jail when it opened on a Saturday. One time. I mean, I just remember all these things, and I remember the last work car you had was a red Crown Vic.
Yep.
And so I mean,
I can see it. I can see that car sitting at your house there at Van Heusen's farm. I can still see that.
That's the influence that you had. You left such a huge impression on us.
You're being too nice.
No, I don't think we are. But
we're sitting here,
Yeah.
27 years, 28 years, whatever years later, and I still remember when you hired me. When I had the interview board. I remember who was on it, and you said, somebody said, "Well, we'll be in touch with you," and then you said, "Well, just go across the hall. That's my secretary's office, and tell her when you can start."
Yep.
And I said, "Well, Sheriff."
Keep it simple.
Yeah, isn't it so much easier?
I said, "Sheriff, I want to give where I'm currently employed a month's notice, so I can train my replacement." And I remember you kind of leaned back and you said, I believe the words you said was noble. I think you said, "That's very noble of you to do."
Right.
And you went on to tell me a story.
Because he knew you might be back there in a month and a half.
Yeah, no kidding, right? But you told me a story about before you became a sheriff's deputy that you had, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you'd gotten a job helping out doing some demolition in Topeka. Do you remember that?
What kind of demolition was it? Was it after the tornado?
It may have been, but I remember you telling me a story about a bunch of guys that you were working with were kind of fudging on the job, but you were taking the time to actually clean up the faucets.
I remember that.
And rebuild them.
For a contractor at Forbes Field.
Yeah, and you told me that story that day, and I've never forgot that story.
It made a difference in my life.
Well, and what it does really is it's like if you're gonna clean the faucet, clean the faucet.
Yeah.
Act like you want to do it.
Yeah.
And so I remember that all these years later. So when we say that you're a hero to us, don't hold that lightly.
Yeah.
You earned that.
I would say we have less than 10 employees left that you hired. Wouldn't you say probably about 10?
Probably.
And not a one of them would say a bad thing about you, but I go back to in my early career, it was you and Don Crow. Those are the two people that really, really have ridden with me, and I think I speak for Jason as well, in being kind of that voice in the back of your mind, like, are you sure? Or, Don Crow saying, what the hell's the matter with you? You know, are you simple?
yeah.
What's the matter with you? But no, I'm with Jason. It's not every day you get to sit down and talk to somebody like that. And you know, in somebody maybe 25 years from now, somebody want to have us on their podcast to tell us what knuckleheads we were, that kind of stuff. But I always, through my career, and Jason I think will agree with me, is that I've had probably 100 different supervisors. I don't know, maybe 100, and I learned from a few of them how to do the job. And some of them I learned how I will never do this job. You know, I learned what not to do. And the people that are in that how to do it was a much smaller group, and you're definitely in that group by a long shot. But so we'll round this out. I really appreciate you coming in and taking the time to speak with us. I have a feeling that this, and I'd mentioned it to Jason, this episode was more for the two of us than it is for the people that are listening and watching it. It might be a little bit boring. I'm very sorry. But this was something that I always wanted to do.
I appreciate you having me.
Oh, man,
It's an honor.
It's an honor. And honestly, you know, the heroes in our lives, Don Crow just passed away last year. And, you know, we're losing the people that we need to be learning and hearing from. So, not that I expect you to go anywhere anytime soon, but but we all know that everything must end at some point. So
right.
I always ask some crazy questions of the guests, and I'll ask the both of you. I've kind of morphed it into two different questions. One of them's kind of funny, one of them's a bit more serious. But the funny one, we'll do the serious one. If you could sit down and have a cup of coffee or a beer with anybody, alive or dead, that's not a family member, somebody maybe historical, somebody that you wish you could just sit down and talk to, who would that person be?
Mine's easy.
Well, I'd have to think about that.
Yeah. Well, you've known a lot of people for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a wide area.
Truman the night before he decided to drop the bomb.
That would be quite a cup of coffee, I think.
I think I've always pictured that setting in like a dim lit office, you know,
Yes.
and he's probably got like a scotch or
Yeah.
something with him, and he's sitting there and he's thinking, I can save hundreds of thousands
Yep.
of us, or I can take hundreds of thousands of them.
But I think he did them both. I
Yeah.
think both things happened in that moment.
And I've always felt that is probably one of the most pivotal or toughest decisions ever made in mankind.
100%. Yeah, that's it. He was dealing with our civilization's existence at that moment.
Yeah.
I think, and I know, from what I've read and heard, it sounds to me like that weight was not lost on him. Like I think some presidents would maybe not understand the depth of that, but it sounded like it was quite a deal.
Yeah.
No, that's a great one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you think of anybody?
I'm gonna stay with. Let me just reserve the right to think of that.
100%, absolutely. But the funny question I always ask everybody, and you know, not everybody goes to music shows or concerts, but it's always, you know, what was the first music or concert show you went to? What was the most recent, and what was your favorite? I think you learn a lot about people.
The first one I ever went to was Sonny and Cher in Nebraska.
Okay, what year would that have been?
I'll have to think about that also, but I was a deputy, and myself and Bobby Ellison from KU Police Department went there to, what do you want to call it, research that, because they were coming to KU next.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so that would have probably been the late 60s, early 70s maybe?
Yeah, late 60s.
Okay, yeah. So so my mom and dad, in fact, my mom and dad's first date was at a Peter, Paul, and Mary show at Allen Fieldhouse. They used to have concerts at Allen Fieldhouse once in a while.
Yeah, that was Peter. That's what this one was.
Oh, was it really? Yeah. So that
It
would
wasn't Sonny and...
So would have been in mid to late 60s then. So yeah, because I've always heard about like Bo Diddley played at some place it was the barn or something, but it burnt down in the 90s. It was on the west side of Lawrence on West 6th Street out towards where the
Chimney Dairy.
Is that what it was? Yeah, and they used to have concerts and shows in there. Yeah, so I guess Bo Diddley played there. I want to say
when I was in high school, they had dances there every weekend.
Yeah, Jerry Lee Lewis, I guess, played there after he had kind of had his downfall. So Yeah, but it's weird. It's weird to think about having a concert in Allen Fieldhouse because I've never been in there for anything other than a basketball game. So yeah, that's cool.
Well, my first concert was the late great Merle Haggard
Oh, yes.
with Clint Black
Oh, okay.
was fresh.
So it would have been like in the
New.
80s or 90s?
Late 80s,
Yeah.
early 90s. All to me, it was just amazing because I grew up listening to WDAF 61 Country with my dad,
absolutely.
and Paul Harvey.
Paul
and
Harvey in the
stuff,
afternoon.
and, of
Yep.
course,
Getting the pork belly market and futures.
I grew up on Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash music, and stuff. And my favorite is tough because obviously seeing the Eagles with the Kansas City Symphony backing them
Oh,
up,
that would be cool.
playing the whole Hotel California album
Yeah.
was pretty impressive. But being able to see, I saw them with both singers, so you'd have to split it up. But when Jay and I went and seen Van Halen in Oklahoma in like 2012,
Oh, my gosh.
but being back with David Lee Roth because they were popular in the late 80s and early 90s with him and I remember their album 1984 was just such a big album and I believe it's both our favorite album of all time.
Well, and that was such a weird show too because Kool and the Gang opened up for him.
Yes.
It was it was kind of diametrically opposed. It was a wide breadth of music that night.
Yeah, and I remember one thing about it is Jay's mother was kind enough to take us to the concert because she has family in Oklahoma.
And she was worried we couldn't find our way out of there
Yeah.
for many reasons.
And so Jay and I had hydrated while we were there. And it was cool because after the show, she pulled right up the curb, picked us up, and then took us to Wendy's.
I guess she figured we needed some carbs. Yep. So, all right.
It was great.
Yep. Well, I think we've gone on long enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
thank
So
you.
thank you
Sheriff.
again for being here. We really appreciate it. And if you come up with some answers or things that you think that you wish you would have told us, get a hold of me and let me know.
Okay.
I'd love hearing more about it. But other than that, I appreciate you. Give you the rest of your day back, and we'll call it good. So thank you so much.
All right, absolutely appreciate it.